A hilarious TikTok imagines what might have happened if Rhodey, Don Cheadle, and Nebula, Karen Gillan, went to Vormir during Avengers: Endgame. The epic finale film to the first three phases of the MCU featured a time heist storyline where the Avengers went back in time to get the Infinity Stones. While the plan went smoothly for most of the Avengers, Clint Barton, Jeremy Renner, and Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, Scarlett Johansson, found themselves faced with a life-altering decision on Vormir in order to retrieve the Soul Stone. The end result was Black Widow sacrificing herself. Black Widow's death in Avengers: Endgame is still a source of controversy among fans 2 years after the film premiered in theaters. It would have been unreasonable to expect that all of the Avengers would escape Avengers: Endgame unscathed. However, to some fans, Black Widow's death felt like an insult to her character. Not only did Natasha and Clint have no idea that they'd have to make such a huge decision on the mission, but Natasha didn't even get her own MCU solo film until after her unexpected and tragic death. Clint was even forced to leave Black Widow's body behind on Vormir in the film. While her decision was absolutely a noble one, another critique of her death was the fact that she didn't even get a funeral afterwards, like Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. did after his sacrifice. TikTok creator Nick Marina is well known for her hilarious MCU-themed skits. In one of her most recent videos, Marina imagines how Vormir would have gone if Rhodey and Nebula went instead, even throwing in an additional few hilarious Marvel cameos. Check out the whole video below. Click here to view the original post. Besides the obvious comical aspect of Marina's MCU skit, what's great about it is that Nebula turns the tables on the Red Skull. It's completely in character for Nebula and also adds a sense of agency to the scene, and definitely would have made for a great episode of Marvel's What If? What was frustrating about the actual Clint-Natasha Vormir moment was that they really had no choice in the matter, and it almost felt like a cheap repeat of Gamora's tragic death in Avengers: Infinity War. Of course, it was very in character for Natasha to fight Clint over who would ultimately sacrifice themselves for the greater good. However, it also would have been absolutely fantastic to see Natasha in the final battle against Thanos. After all, Natasha has been an MCU mainstay since Iron Man 2, and it didn't feel fair that she didn't get a chance to fight in the final battle for Earth. However, it was great that Natasha still did get an interesting story with Black Widow. Avengers: Endgame was without a doubt an epic conclusion to the first three phases of the MCU. While the MCU keeps moving forward, it's definitely fun to imagine different outcomes for different Marvel characters on Vormir and elsewhere. Although Natasha's story is done, it'll be interesting to see where Nebula's path leads her in the future. Source: Nick Marina.